Welcome to an evening of spine-tingling tales and bone-chilling encounters. In this video, we'll be delving into 3 gripping horror stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. First, we'll venture into the freezing depths of a remote forest as we encounter the Wendigo's winter hunt. Next, we'll step back in time to a town plagued by an otherworldly presence in whispers from the Bell Witch. And finally, we'll journey into the eerie New Jersey Pine Barrens, where we'll hunt down the elusive Jersey Devil. Each story promises to deliver a unique and heart-pounding experience filled with suspense, terror, and the supernatural. So, turn down the lights, grab a cozy blanket, and prepare to be immersed in the world of the unknown. Let's begin with our first story, the Wendigo's winter hunt. The Wendigo's winter hunt. The wind howled through the dense forest, whipping the snowflakes into a frenzy and biting at my exposed skin. I trudged through the knee-deep snow, my breath visible in the frigid air. My flashlight flickered as I stumbled over tree roots and fallen branches, the forest around me seeming to close in with each passing step. I had ventured deep into the wilderness of northern Canada, following rumors of strange happenings in the remote woods. Stories of missing hikers and eerie howling in the night had led me here, determined to uncover the truth behind the legends that whispered of a creature known as the Wendigo. My heart raced as I thought about the tales I had heard, about the creature that was said to be a monstrous, cannibalistic entity, born from the darkest depths of human desperation. Legend had it that those who resorted to cannibalism in the direst of circumstances would be cursed to become Wendigos themselves, cursed to wander the woods in search of human flesh. I had always been skeptical of such stories, dismissing them as folklore and superstition. But as I ventured deeper into the forest, an uneasy feeling settled in the pit of my stomach. The shadows danced in the corners of my vision, and every snap of a twig underfoot sent shivers down my spine. The night had fallen quickly, and the moon was obscured by thick clouds, casting the forest into an eerie darkness. I could barely see more than a few feet ahead, relying on my flashlight to guide my way. I paused to catch my breath, my heart pounding in my chest. The silence of the forest was deafening, broken only by the distant hooting of an owl. It was then that I heard it, a low guttural growl, like the sound of an animal in pain. My blood ran cold as I scanned the darkness with my flashlight, but I saw nothing. I continued onward, my senses on high alert. The snow crunched beneath my boots as I moved through the forest, each step echoing in the quiet night. The feeling of being watched gnawed at me, and I couldn't shake the sense that I was not alone. Suddenly, I heard a twig snap behind me. I spun around, my flashlight trembling in my hand. There, in the pale beam of light, stood a figure, a grotesque, emaciated creature with sunken eyes and long, gnarled limbs. Its skin was pallid and stretched tightly over its skeletal frame, and its mouth was twisted into a rictus grin, revealing rows of sharp, yellowed teeth. I froze, my heart pounding as I stared at the creature before me. It let out another guttural growl, and I could see the hunger in its eyes. In that moment, I knew that I was face to face with a Wendigo. Panic surged through me as I fumbled for my camera, desperate to capture proof of the creature's existence. But as I raised the camera to my eye, the Wendigo moved with lightning speed, lunging towards me. Its long, bony fingers reached out, clawing at my throat. I screamed and stumbled backward, narrowly avoiding its grasp. My camera fell to the ground, the flashlight casting eerie shadows as it rolled away. I knew I had to get out of there, to escape the clutches of this monstrous being. I turned and ran as fast as I could, crashing through the snow-covered underbrush. The creature pursued me relentlessly, its otherworldly speed and agility making it seem like a spectre, haunting my every step. Its shrill, bone-chilling cries echoed through the woods, driving me to push myself even harder. My breath came in ragged gasps, and my limbs ached with exhaustion, but I couldn't stop, not with that creature on my heels. I knew that if it caught me, there would be no escape. I stumbled out of the forest and into a small clearing, my heart sinking as I realized that I had run in circles. The Wendigo was closing in, its grotesque form emerging from the darkness. I could see its twisted, hungry grin as it reached out for me. Desperation clawed at me, and I knew I had only one chance. I reached into my backpack and pulled out a small vial of salt. With trembling hands, I threw the salt in the creature's direction, forming a protective circle around me. The Wendigo screeched in agony as it crossed the barrier, its form contorting and writhing in pain. It clawed at the invisible barrier, but it could not breach the circle of salt. I watched in horror as the creature writhed and twisted, its screams echoing through the night. And then in an instant it was gone, leaving only the echo of its cries and the lingering sense of dread in the air. I collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath, my heart still pounding in my chest. I had narrowly escaped the clutches of the Wendigo, but I knew that I had come dangerously close to becoming another victim of its insatiable hunger. As I sat there in the cold, dark woods, I couldn't help but wonder how many others had not been so lucky. How many had ventured into these woods and never returned. The legends of the Wendigo were no longer just stories to me. They were a terrifying reality that I had witnessed firsthand, a reminder of the darkness that could lurk in the most remote corners of the world. Whispers from the Abyss. I've always been drawn to the supernatural, the unexplained, the eerie. It was a fascination that led me to explore the legends and mysteries of the world. But nothing could have prepared me for the chilling encounter that awaited me in the small town of Adams, Tennessee, the home of the infamous Whispers. It was a dark and stormy night when I arrived in Adams, a place that seemed frozen in time. The wind howled through the trees, and the rain poured relentlessly from the heavens, adding to the sense of foreboding that hung in the air. I had heard the stories of the Whispers, tales of a malevolent spirit that had tormented the town for centuries, and I was determined to uncover the truth. I had rented a room at the local inn, a charming but weathered building that had seen better days. The innkeeper, an elderly woman with a knowing glint in her eye, had warned me about the Whispers and the strange occurrences that still haunted this quiet town. She cautioned me to be careful, to tread lightly in my quest for answers. That night, as I lay in my creaking bed, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The walls of the inn seemed to close in around me, and I could hear faint whispers in the darkness. It was as if the very air itself was alive with an unsettling presence. I had heard that the Whispers were known for their mischievous tricks and malicious pranks, and I wondered if they had taken an interest in my presence. The thought sent a chill down my spine, and I pulled the covers tighter around me, trying to block out the creeping sense of dread. The next day, I set out to explore the town and learn more about the Whispers' history. I visited the old town square where the haunting had first begun. The square was empty and abandoned, but the air was thick with the weight of the past. I could almost hear the voices of the townsfolk, their fear and confusion as they were tormented by an unseen force. As I stood there, lost in thought, I heard a faint, disembodied voice. It whispered my name, a soft and haunting sound that seemed to come from all around me. I spun around, searching for the source of the voice, but there was no one in sight. The whispers continued, growing louder and more insistent. They spoke of pain and anger, of a spirit wronged and seeking revenge. It was the voice of the Whispers themselves, reaching out from beyond the grave to share their torment. I stumbled back, my heart pounding in my chest. I knew that I had to leave, to escape the clutches of this malevolent entity. But as I turned to go, a powerful force pushed me to the ground, pinning me in place. I struggled to move, but it was as if invisible hands held me fast. Desperation clawed at me, and I felt an overwhelming urge to recite the Lord's Prayer, a prayer my grandmother had taught me as a child. I began to recite it out of sheer desperation, my voice trembling with fear and uncertainty. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. To my astonishment, as I continued to recite the prayer, the room seemed to shake, and the force that had held me released its grip. The whispers of the whispers grew fainter, and the apparitions faded away. I fled from the inn, my heart still racing, and I never looked back. I had come seeking answers, but all I had found was a terrifying encounter with a vengeful spirit that had haunted Adams, Tennessee for centuries. As I drove away from the town, I couldn't help but wonder about the whispers and the secrets that they guarded. Some mysteries are best left unsolved, some legends better left undisturbed. The whispers of the whispers would haunt me for the rest of my days, a chilling reminder of the supernatural forces that lurk in the shadows, waiting to be unleashed. Hunting the Jersey Devil. The New Jersey Pine Barrens had always been a place of mystique and mystery, a vast expanse of dense forests, swamps, and desolate wilderness. It was a place where legends thrived, and none were more enduring than the tale of the Jersey Devil. Intrigued by the folklore and spurred by a thirst for adventure, I embarked on a journey into the heart of the Pine Barrens to hunt down the elusive creature. The day I arrived in the small town of Leeds Point, the locals regarded me with a mix of skepticism and unease. They spoke in hushed tones about the cursed creature said to roam these woods, a beast with the body of a kangaroo, the head of a horse, leathery wings, and cloven hooves, its red eyes gleaming with malevolence. As I prepared for my expedition, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The stories of the Jersey Devil had been passed down through generations, and while many dismissed them as mere superstition, there was an underlying current of fear that I couldn't ignore. Armed with a flashlight, camera, and a determination to uncover the truth, I set off into the Pine Barrens as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch and merge into grotesque sharpies. The forest grew darker with each step, and I knew that I was entering a world where the line between reality and legend blurred. The night air was thick with the chirping of crickets and the distant hoots of owls. I trudged deeper into the woods, my senses on high alert. Every rustling leaf, every snap of a twig sent a shiver down my spine. I could feel the weight of the legends pressing in on me, a presence that seemed to watch and wait. Hours passed and the forest grew eerily silent. It was as if the very life of the woods had been extinguished. My flashlight cast a feeble beam into the impenetrable darkness, illuminating the gnarled trees and tangled undergrowth. That's when I heard it. A sound that sent a cold chill racing down my spine. A low, guttural growl, unlike any creature I had ever encountered. I turned toward the source of the sound and saw a pair of crimson eyes gleaming in the darkness. The Jersey Devil stood before me, its grotesque form looming like a nightmare. My heart pounded in my chest as I fumbled for my camera, desperate to capture proof of the creature's existence. The flash of my camera lit up the night, revealing the creature in all its horrifying glory. Its wings unfurled with a deafening flap, casting shadows that danced like demons in the night. Before I could react, the Jersey Devil lunged at me, its razor-sharp claws outstretched. I stumbled backward, narrowly avoiding its grasp. The creature's wings beat the air like thunder, and it let out a blood-curdling screech that echoed through the forest. I knew I had to escape, to find some way to elude the creature that had haunted these woods for centuries. I ran as fast as my legs could carry me, the Jersey Devil in relentless pursuit. It was faster and more agile than any creature I had ever encountered, and its eerie cries sent a shiver down my spine. I could feel the creature closing in, its hot breath on the back of my neck. Panic surged through me as I stumbled through the underbrush, desperate for some way to escape. In my haste, I tripped over a fallen log and tumbled to the ground. The Jersey Devil was upon me in an instant, its foul breath filling the air as it reached out with its clawed hand. I closed my eyes, bracing for the inevitable, but then something unexpected happened. A deafening roar split the night, and the creature was thrown off me, its cries of pain echoing through the forest. I opened my eyes to see a group of local residents, armed with shotguns and torches, surrounding the wounded creature. They shouted curses and threats, driving the Jersey Devil back into the shadows from whence it came. They helped me to my feet, their faces a mix of relief and anger. "You shouldn't have come here," one of them said, his voice filled with a bitter wisdom. "The Pine Barrens are no place for outsiders." As I left the Pine Barrens behind, I couldn't help but wonder about the creature I had encountered. The legends of the Jersey Devil had been terrifyingly real, a reminder that sometimes the most horrifying myths are born from the darkest depths of reality. I knew that I had come face to face with a force beyond comprehension, a creature that would continue to haunt the Pine Barrens long after I had left. The legends of the Jersey Devil would endure, a chilling testament to the mysteries that lurk in the shadows of the world. Thanks for watching. To support us, please like and subscribe.